Hello everyone, I'm RiverFox and welcome to the channel, and today we are going to be carrying on with our simple tips and whatnot series. This is the mini series that does aim to answer the most frequently asked questions from my comments section, and it may also contain any other tips and tricks videos which I think you guys might find useful. So today we are going to be talking about the upgrade of schematics. Now, I do get asked quite often in the comments how to upgrade weapons and the best route to take when evolving those weapons up. Now, I did do a video on this quite some time ago, but hopefully this updated video now will help you out and answer some of those other questions I have received. So without further ado, let's get straight into the schematic upgrades. Now, first things first, before you can even upgrade any of your schematics or your weapons, you do need to complete the Retrieve the Data mission, which is just after the Gimme 3 quest on Stonewood page 2. And once you have completed that mission, it will unlock the ability for you to upgrade your schematics. Until you've done that, you won't have the option there. Now, there has been in the past issues where certain parts and certain things are missing from people's game. And some of those were collection book and upgrades, and also the schematic evolution and schematic upgrades. So if you have completed that quest and you don't have the option to upgrade your schematics, then you will need to contact Epic Games support and log that with them, because although the issues are meant to have been fixed, I don't know if there are still some issues out there because certain people are still missing these options. But for the purpose of this, now of course I do have lots and lots of different weapons here, but for the purpose of this video I am going to be, if I can find it, I am going to upgrade the room sweeper. So the first thing that you will want to do when you are on your schematics page, in my case it is A, and it will have the top option to upgrade inspect. Now, you will be able to only upgrade to a certain degree until you progress through your questline missions and you go from Stonewood, Plankton, Canny Valley and so forth. You will only be able to level them up to a certain amount, and it will pop up on the bottom of the screen, just in the bottom right here where it says level up. It will have a scrolling text underneath that to tell you what the next quest is that you will need to complete before you can upgrade your weapon any further. So for this then, we are on a basic level 20 room sweeper, and in my case I press Y to level up and you can confirm your upgrade. Now, as you upgrade your weapons, you will need to have schematic XP, which is this big number which I've got down the bottom, and every time you upgrade a weapon, then that will decrease the amount of XP that you've got. So if you run out of XP, then you will need to go and do some missions that will reward you with schematic XP and level them up a bit further. Now, for the perks and re-perking of weapons, I will go into that after. But we've leveled it up now to a level 1 weapon. So once we evolve this again, this will then make it into a level 2 weapon. Now, once you've leveled it up to the first lot, which is basically 10 levels, then it will come up with an evolve option, and again that option will only be there once you progress through your questline. So to evolve a weapon basically means to take it from a level 1 star 1 weapon to a star 2 weapon. Now, you will also notice then on the bottom right hand side here, when you evolve a weapon, you do need to have certain materials and XP in order to do so. Now, I've got green ticks next to all of my requirements down here because I've got everything for it. But if you are short of, say, schematic XP, then it will probably have a little red cross on there instead. to say that you can't evolve it, you don't have enough materials. So to level up to a level 2, we will need to have schematic XP, pure drops of rain, and weapon designs. Now all of these in the earlier stages can be quite difficult to get, and you may have to grind quite a lot of missions in Stonewood and Plankerton and Canny Valley in order to get these. But once you have got them, then you can confirm the evolution. That will then make it to a level 2. But then you can still level it up then in order to get it to the full level 2 weapon. So if we just go through this now quickly and put this to a level 20. There we go. So that is now a full level 20 weapon. And you can again evolve it a third time, which will take it to a 3-star weapon. Now this time you will notice that it does need all the other required materials, but it also needs lightning in a bottle. And this is another evolution material. Now I will link in the description down below. I did do a video on evolution materials quite some time ago and how best to get those. But at the moment we're quite good in the weekly store that they are giving quite a lot of evolution materials. So it's a good idea to buy those up when you can. But we will evolve this, and this will then make it into a 3-star weapon, and we can just level this all the way up to a level 30, which does take some time because it's extremely slow in leveling up. There we go. So that's a level 30. Now next evolution then into a level 4. Now this is where it will give you the option of whether you want an obsidian or a shadow shard. Now there are quite a lot of people out there that would say that certain weapons need to be obsidians, certain weapons need to be shadow shard. But over the last year or so, majority of things tend to end up going shadow shard. The only things really that put for obsidian are sometimes snipers and bows. Your launchers will normally be obsidian anyway. It doesn't really give you any option on launchers. But also any weapons that you want to use for defenders, I would probably recommend an obsidian as well, with the exception of some melee weapons which can actually be better to go obsidian just for the additional attack speed. Other than that, pretty much everything else will go a shadow shard. I mean, this is just my personal preference. You know, if you want to make it into an obsidian, that is perfectly fine. There is no real right or wrong answer to it. Now, you will notice on the left-hand side here, which I'm going to pop a screenshot up because my webcam is probably in the way. But when you do go on obsidian, it will affect things like your damage and your impact. When you go on to your shadow shard, now it may affect different things. The durability may be less. So it can be one of those, you know, do you make it obsidian? Do you make it shadow shard? But personally, for durability wise, and if you want it to last a lot longer, especially with defenders, then I would go obsidian. And if you want to have your damage and higher damage to it, then I would go with the shadow shard weapon. So I'm going to evolve this onto a shadow shard. Now you will also note at the bottom as well, for our requirements, we now need to use Eye of the Storm as well, which is another evolution material. So you will need those to make this a level 4. So if we go and evolve this now, it will, at this point, it will ask you, are you sure? Because once you have made a weapon, either shadow shard or obsidian, there is no way to go back on that unless you get a new schematic of that weapon. There used to be a time when Fortnite would, you'd email Fortnite Epic Games, they would change it over, but they stopped all of that. So once you have made this to one of the two options, that will be it. You will no longer be able to go and change that weapon. So I'm going to make this into our shadow shard. and we are then going to go up and level this up to a level 40, and that will get that up to the top. And it's decided to go really slow. Okay, right, so that is a level 40. Now, the next one is our last and final level 5-star, which will take it up to our 130 weapon. And this time, because we're leveling it up the final stage, we now need to have Storm Shard as well. So you will need a lot of materials, a lot of evolution materials, weapon designs and everything in order to get these to a full max 130. And because we went on the Shadow Shard, this is now going to become a Sunbeam, which is the level 5 material. So I'm going to put that up there, and we are going to level this fully up to a level 50, which is the max level that you can get on your weapons. So there we are. That is now a full maxed out weapon. And actually, I've even just on these perks that are on here, the DPS on this is absolutely phenomenal. I've been wanting to try a Room Sweeper for a long time, so this video came at the perfect time for me. So once you have fully leveled this up, you can, if you want, you can go and try it out. You can test it, do whatever you wish with it. But you also then have an option to modify the perks. And with the modify perks, you will need to complete your Plankerton Storm Shield Defense number 2 before it will allow you to modify and change perks. But once you have done that, you can then physically change any of these 5 perks. The last and final perk will always be set, and you can't change that one. That is a physical perk of that weapon. So it's always a good idea to try and make your other perks fit with that last 6th perk. Now on this one, the headshot elimination has caused an explosion, so we don't really have anything on here that is going to boost the perk on this last one, but on here we do have headshot damage, so we could try that with a headshot damage. The element physical, generally, unless you want it as a specific element weapon, I tend to stick it on a energy damage, and at least that way then it's going to do a relatively decent damage to most elemental husks. If you want it to use it on normal non-elemental husks, then leave it as the physical, and of course if you want any other elements, then you can pick whichever one you want. Now for this particular Room Sweeper, it doesn't have the best 6th perk for me, in all honesty. So what I'm going to do is not necessarily the best option for you. I'm going to set this as a crit damage and crit rating weapon. I'm not going to put in that headshot damage, only because I've got lots of weapons already which have got a headshot damage on it. You can get various different perks on some of these weapons. So although mine has a 6th perk of headshot eliminations, you can get ones with causes affliction damage, you can get it with slowing and snaring targets. So there's various different ones, and the last perk will normally determine for you what loadout you will set. But for me, I'm going to leave this as a crit damage and a crit rating, so I'm going to change this over to crit rating. Now when you do change over any of the perks, you will notice at the bottom here that it does require reperk, and it will also require perk up, and they will go from your epic, rare and legendary perks. So I'm gonna just level my one up here, and I'm gonna make it into a full gold roll 130, and I'm going to leave the other perks as they are for the time being. I may go in and change them. I'm going to do some testing out on it first before I do. But yeah, with the durability, now the durability actually I am going to change to a reload. I'm going to change that one to a reload perk, because it does have a pretty decent damage to it anyway, so we don't want that. And durability wise, it's not so much of a problem for me. So I'm just going to level all of these up here, and there we go. And there we are. Now, once you have set your perks, you can quite easily go in and change those later on if you wish. It will just cost you a little bit of reperk if you want to change them over. So I will be testing this at the moment with a crit damage and a crit rating. If I don't find that it works too well, then I can just go in, I can change it back to the headshot and probably a normal damage perk on it and do it that way. One other thing that I do want to quickly go through just before we finish off this video is you can also increase the rarity of a weapon. So if you have an uncommon, a rare, or an epic weapon, then you can increase the rarity of that weapon and you can make it into a higher level. So it's always best to try and use legendary schematics wherever possible, because they are going to give you the most damage and the highest perks to it. So it's pretty simple. As long as you do have the flux that you require to upgrade that schematic, then it's easy. In my case, using the controller, I just press the X key and that will increase the rarity, and it's pretty instant. It will automatically give you that new schematic of the legendary. Of course, it will take away the older version and replace it with that new one, but you will then be able to level it up and change the perks as much as you like. So that is how to level up your schematics, increase your rarity, and change your perks. So I hope you do find this video useful. If you do, don't forget to drop a like down below, smash that subscribe before you go, and if you turn on the notification bell, then you will always get updated of all my content when it comes out. If you do buy anything from the Fortnite store, please consider using code RiverFox, as it will help me out a great deal. But until the next one, I hope you have a lovely day and stay safe, my friends.